How was your full Pisces moon? And that energy, if you're listening to the CIRF report is early enough, it can be as early as, say, Wednesday late afternoon, depending on where you are. This thing will go out a little bit earlier than the normal evening time. And we still have some grand trine energies, and that's going to feel hopefully pretty darn good. Practical, logical, with some nice aspects to Mercury. And but we also have that T-square. But here's the good news, that ages out for a while. Now, Mars is going to go in retrograde. We're going to look at this in detail. And then, but Venus is going to transit. So even though Mars comes back, it's hopefully not going to make that T-square. I haven't really analyzed that. I haven't had a lot of time to look into the far distant future. But for now, this week, the T-square dries up before Mars goes retrograde. But anyway, we're not worried too much about retrograde period. We are more worried about the collective energies. Now, let me get rid of this circle because that could really confuse things. The purple circle here is our astrology, and I already mentioned a little bit of it. We have Venus going into Leo. We have the grander trines and the Mars T-square. We're going to talk about all those. And then the green circle is representing of the dream bot. The dream bot is the collective unconscious, or probably the best measure that you could probably get of the collective unconscious, because it represents people's dreams, pulls in across the web what everyone's dreaming, and it analyzes what are the most common words that are being used in the dreams, so the most common symbols. That gives us an idea for where the collective is headed. So the dream bot is saying stop, go. It's like vehicles moving, stopping. And then there's also a secondary of ascending or improving. That's a really positive thing. But those are directly overlapped. If you've got your basic grand earth trine as a go, but it's like a steady, slow, methodical go. And then, of course, the Mars T-square is more conflicted, so that'd be the stop. But Venus and Leo could be the improving, even if it's just a feeling or the sensation of improving. That could be annotated there. So those are direct overlaps. And then the I-Ching gives us the blue circle, which is really just following. So in essence, we have a collective level. That's the dream bot is collective. And the stop or go, but it's a collective stop or go. It's follow the leader. That's the collective version of collective stop or go. So we're going to talk about all these. We're going to get down to astrology day by day. And then, most importantly, you've got to wait till the end of the show. We're going to give you the final solution slide, which triangulates and gives you the best behaviors to be able to use this collective stop or go energy, or follow the leader kind of energy, and you'll be able to maximize the energies of this week. We'll get there next. Here's the dream bot. If you haven't already, make sure before we get started, hit the like button and share and subscribe. We love having you here. That way you can get notified of new CIRF reports and some other things that we do here. So in the collective dream bot, we have the red arrows. I already said this is really stop and go, parking, flight, park. There's a lot of park. So there's like, and sure, words can be used in multiple situations. Like park can be a verb or a noun, like a national park. But in this case, the red arrows all indicate like a vehicle, stop or go. And then the blue arrows is more like improving, ascending, wishing. I included the word alien in there. Yeah, alien can be scary and all that and different, but it also can be alien technology, which would be far improved from what we're allowed to be using right now. All right, never mind. I can go on and on, but those are our two memes. Let's get into the astrology. And let me get my pointer out. Oh, normally right in here, let me Let me show this to you real quick. Look at this. This is the second time we've had the Schumann resonance. I tried to go get the data, and this data is temporarily unavailable. So I can't do my trial thing of that influence, the Schumann resonance influence. That's a bummer. We have the Global Consciousness Project. It's it's hanging up in the upper side of here. I truly believe that they are trying to segregate us, and we're not having it, because you can see the bottom line here is that the bottom trend. Now I can get the highlighter out. Let me go get the highlighter. The bottom trend here is just like a stock market. You look at the trend is the bottom of these dips are going up. And what that means is the coherence is also going up. All right. Whether that doesn't mean much without the Schumann resonance, I don't think. All right. So looking at this slide, this is our overview of the astrology. I want to point out Mercury with some sextile. This is a continuation of our last report. Mercury is communication and logic and rational and short distance travel and all that. And it's got some nice aspects to it. So Mercury and the ability to think, other than this sesquisquare and the adjustments that have to be made with Mars, Mercury is looking pretty good. So thoughts and rationality are good. And as you're going to see, the solution is part of that. That's why I'm highlighting this. Mars later on in the week is going to end up going retrograde, and Venus is going to go into Leo. That's going to be a big part of our influence. And then the T-square ages out. You can see that right here. The end of that. Finally, the end of that T-square. That's the Mars square Venus. Then we have Mercury is going to switch over into Libra, and then some other influences here. The blue is pretty much always in conjunct, which is an adjustment. That goes nicely with our grand Earth trine with Uranus. Uranus is going to be changing things up. Pluto is part of that grand Earth trine, so overhauls and death and rebirth and that sort of thing are going to be easy in the material world. I think that's it for now. That's the end of the overview. Let's get into the day by day. So we continue that chaotic energy. And this is the importance. This right here, this slide shows you why we do CIRF reports, why we do overlaps. Look at the overview. Why do we do these overlaps? Is because of these kinds of days where the energies, you've got oppositions, you've got a grand Earth trine, you have multiple oppositions. You've got 4 of them. You've got a T-square, a double T-square. You've got a sextile. So which one is dominant? You've got a full moon still, the energy here of the full moon, plus or minus 24 hours of this Pisces full moon. And so, which one of these energies is the most important? Well, that's why we do the overlapping. But anyway, you got the grand Earth trine, that's a sun, Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus, and all of these trines are easy energy between planets that are in Earth signs. Earth is practical. It's fairly straightforward. It's steadfast. It has a hard time kind of getting started, but once it gets started, it's a slow moving cow moving forward, and it's kind of hard to stop that big weighted animal, as it kind of it doesn't like barrel through things, but it's got some momentum. And that's slow and methodical is where we came from last week. And the solution this week will be quite a bit different, but you can see the energies here, at least the start, are the same. Here we head into Friday, the 4th. And the thing I wanted to point out here is kind of like we just got through a full moon. This could be a surrogate full moon. Neptune is very dreamy, just like, the moon's not normally dreamy, but it's watery. It rules Cancer, so it's another water sign planet, and the sun is starting to make an opposition with it. So it's almost like we have a secondary full moon, but extreme. It's much more Pisces. Neptune rules Pisces. So that energy is dominant. That could be kind of a wacky, transpersonal, mystical, could be very connected. And it also might be illusionary. You might get illusions and fantasy that aren't real. That could be tricky, especially for a Virgo sun that doesn't like to miss any details. And so you could be tricked into a misidentification of details or a wrong detail itself. And so really we need a lot of rationality. There's an opportunity with Mercury sextile still over to Venus. And so an opportunity to really think about relationships and at home, the home type of relationship, the home represented by Cancer and that influence. And then, Venus has got his oppositions as well. So overall, you've got a lot of that wacky energy. You still have the leftover residue of the dying T-square, Mars T-square is right here. You can see the dashed lines represent that it's aging out. And thank goodness. Thank goodness it's aging out, because Mars is a trap here. And this is the conflict. Mars in Aries is the conflict, a double square that you've been seeing out in Portland and all the big cities around the globe. It's the conflict. And hopefully that ages out during this week. Maybe, just maybe, well, we'll get there here in a second, but you're going to see this T-square start aging out completely. And maybe we see the commensurate harmonization around the world. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, Saturday, double emotional T-square. Just when I said it's starting to age out, the moon hits up with Mars and becomes the invigorating, very emotional T-square. So that's kind of the climax right before the end, is this moon transit with Mars, and reinvigorates the T-square momentarily over the weekend. Maybe some quick emotional fires will burn out. Maybe some big old selfishness. Maybe just tired of everybody else's crap, that kind of thing. But that's a trap on Saturday, because it's a double, maybe even triple T-square. Meanwhile, you have an opportunity here to stay in the present moment. That's the other gift of the earth signs, grand earth trine, staying in the present and really experiencing life. But look at what we have. You're going to be experiencing big change in Taurus, change in the bull's momentum, change in the material world, and trine over to Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth and inner power. But it's Jupiter right there too. They're holding hand in hand. So it's wise and positive and optimistic transformation. So all that we've been talking about over the past few months is still there in a grander trine. So when things get difficult, maybe emotionally selfish or emotionally powered up and charged up, and you see all these like reactions from yourself that are unusual, you're in the trap, and you should get into the here and now, get into the practical world, really feel through your five senses, feel the change, look for something that has changed, look for something that has died and restarted again. That would be the Pluto influence. And look at your ego. You're probably going to be doing that anyway with Virgo, because you're hypersensitive, hyper aware of things that might be, needing attention, that kind of thing. That's that Virgo sun. All right, heading into Sunday, we have the big news is your relationships and harmony and beauty and the way you look is all changed. It went from, probably got tired of being at home in Cancer. And so now Leo says, look at me. I want to be seen. I want my beauty to be seen. I want my harmony and my peace. I want that to be seen. And, as you see this, what I talked about, the age out of the square over to Mars, and basically Venus gets let free, that's going to be even more. It's going to be free to be very passionate, very warm to others, very charismatic in this, everything, beauty, even finance is part of Venus. And so imagine what a world looks like when, You've got my finance wants to be shown as well, the Leo influence. Maybe some bling might be showing. And we still have that beautiful grand earth trine. Enjoy that. It's an opportunity to stay in the here and now. Now, speaking of this, you have more grand earth trine as you have the last day of the T-square. As you're starting to feel out this new Venus beautiful energy and passionate, warm, glowing energy and harmony at the same time that Mars is going to let Venus go on that T-square. That's going to be a freeing effect. On Tuesday then, no, really no difference. You've got Venus now picks up a square over to change. And so the only threat to feeling this this glowing, passionate beauty now is Uranus, and changing up the material world. That could really affect your finances, and it could affect the global financial stage. Is a square over to whenever there's a square here, it could be conflict, but it also could be a lot of pressure to do something, and that pressure causes the change. And so a Venus that is in Leo, that's the finance that's out and about. It is seen. It is no longer obscured like it was in the protective shell of Cancer, and it's got pressure to change. So yeah, there could be some fantastic news there. And then on Wednesday, we have that back where we started from, the Sun opposed Neptune. We've got the grand Earth trine still, multiple. And we've got Venus in Leo that's squared off to Uranus. So the energy is all over the place. So now let's look at the rest of the energies so we can figure out what the main influence is. Let's look at the I-Ching reading. As we cast the coins, we came up with 2 change lines. That's 1 and 4. Let me get at least this pointer out. And we had hexagram 17. It's following. And it's just like it says, it's following the leader. Choosing to follow good influences brings supreme success. So basically what it's saying is we're going to be influenced to follow something. And remember last report, it was polarization. See, and so maybe that was the gateway to having to choose a side, really. And so now we have to follow whichever choice we've chosen, if you will. And so now is a time to really assess whether or not you chose correctly and make some adjustments as appropriate, because you want to be following good influences brings supreme success. You may not be able to change the direction of the wind, but by frequently adjusting your sails, you can arrive at your destination with a joy that inspires others to follow you. Not that you're trying to get people to follow you, okay? It's going to naturally happen when you just pour your passion into the right way. Focus on the common good in order to remain unharmed. A great leader can emerge only by adapting to the demands of the times. So the line 1 is at the bottom. These are important. I like the lines. They get very much more detailed. And, the hexagram itself is kind of an orientation to that energy, but the lines really give the details. When a person of vision undertakes a challenge, he or she must sometimes change direction in the course of events. When these changes result from the sincere communication with those of different opinions, good fortune will follow. Look at this. This is the Mercury thing. And we didn't spend a lot of time on Mercury, and that's my fault. I'm not going to go back and talk. Just suffice it to say, Mercury's got a lot of opportunities this week. And here's a confirmation. Sincere communication, that's Mercury, with those of different opinions, good fortune will follow. So open up your mind, think logically, but allow more people to speak. Get more opinions so that you can make sure that you're on your best path. Stay open to the ideas of others, but hold your ground on matters of integrity. Line 4, it often happens that as a person attains a position of influence, he or she attracts a chorus of flatterers who use their supposed loyalty to gain personal advantage. Be wary of flatterers. All right. Now it's time to get to the solution, and I'm going to do our sponsor towards the end, right before we do the solution slides. Let's just keep on going with the solution. Is when you put in the line, when you put in these dots, you basically just transform the yang into a yin on both of those, and the result becomes hexagram 8. Hexagram 8 is holding together. This is the teamwork thing. So now doesn't that match almost perfectly with following? It's following the right team. So it's all connected here. Holding together produces success. High-level teamwork is achieved when the right players on the right team share a clear goal at the right time. A team forms its relationships in a delicate manner. Chemistry is brewed in the vat of shared experience. Shared experience. That's the Grand Earth Trines this week. Accept the structure of the team if you wish to receive its benefits. Otherwise, go off on your own. That's interesting. It's telling you to go off on your own if you have differing integrity or differing values than the group you're following. Don't just blindly follow. Cling to your own principles, but be willing to subordinate personal desires when they compromise the good of the group. All right, hope that was helpful. And again, I'm going to break all this down into meaningful chunks in the summary slide. So hang on for the ride. This is where we get into the sidereal solution and the I-Ching. So what we do is we take the highest tropical day, tropical energy astrology, and we place it into our matrix, which includes a rave mandala, and it includes sidereal astrology. Sidereal astrology is where you go out in the night sky and you look at where, let's see, Venus is, and you say, well, it should be in Cancer. The tropical is based on ancient placement. So that's why we have tropical as the influence. Sidereal is the solution. And in this case, it's Uranus. Uranus is not something that we can guess. Uranus throws change at you and expects to adapt. So basically, we are followers of Uranus. We are also followers of Pluto. But I think in this case, the steering mechanism here is the moon. Our emotions are commensurate with change. So we're kind of have to follow the change. It's bigger than us. And so we have to follow it. So that's the influence. We plot that. That gives us Rave Mandala hexagram 24. So we're going to look at that. And then it gives us the sidereal solution of Aries. Very interesting. Since we talked about experiencing through the earth signs, the Grand Earth Trine, what about fire? Fire as the solution? Well, hold on. We'll get to all that later. But I just wanted to show you that calculation. So first, hexagram 24. It's the gate of rationalizing. This is Mercury at its best. The role of the mental individuality is to find a way to communicate a unique awareness to the collective mind. Holy cow, this is incredible how this all overlaps. Before any attempt at communication is possible, the inspiration must be given a rational form. All right, so this is to me, this is amazing. This Rave Mandala gave us the connection between the tropical and sidereal, but it also gave us the connection between, it's the bridge from the influence to the solution. Part of this is going to be using our mind, but not just straight up rationalizing. It uses a different method. It says, let the thoughts organize themselves in a way. And so in ACT therapy, we look at the word diffusion to be able to see our thoughts. And in creative psychology, we can look at divergent thinking. I'm going to explain a little bit of that later. But so here it is, returning over and over again what a poetically called pondering until the energy is transformed into a rational form. So pondering until it turns into rational logic and a knowing. All right. Here's where we come. This is our last little bit before the solution. So let's hear a little bit from our sponsor. See you in a second. All right, and intervention therapy is where you want to go for vastly different type of counseling, and it's a complete holistic view of counseling. We also have life coaching. We also have astrology readings. So if you're interested in those, go to intervention.com, get a hold of me there. All right, so here's our solution slide. And again, the Schumann resonance was a question mark. So all we have left is the astrology, the dream bot, and the I-Ching. All say it's collective stop or go. Which one do we follow? Do we stop? Do we go? And how do we know? Well, the answer is we go to the solution slide. So we have reviewed. We're going to talk about the overall triangulation here in a second, but I'm going to turn on this again. I put the appropriate influence here because there's so many different influences. I'm going to put the influence in with the triangulation. So the I-Ching solution is commensurate with the Venus in Leo. It's holding together, Venus being harmony. And charismatic of Leo is holding together, get on the right team, and have clear goals. That's what came from the I-Ching. Now, Mercury is best, as you know, with the Rave Mandala, which is the gate of rationalizing. Ponder until inspiration becomes rational. It's no coincidence that the influence, one of the influences, is Mercury, and a really good arrangement, other than the adjusting, is to have opportunities with thought and logic and communication. So use that energy. When Mars breaks free from the T-square, this is the best for the Aries because Mars is in Aries. So you have that kind of freeing effect, and you've got the Mars in Aries is the last part of Aries, so it's your last chance. But in Sidereal, it's right in there. So the solution is the influence in this case, being direct, being transparent, being vigorous, ardent, confident, intense, passionate. This is an interesting combination from the Grand Earth Trines, is it not? So we want to, in the solution slide, to bring forth some fire in this. All right, let's read the overall triangulation for the solution. So Mercury's influence says think and ponder. We're going to have circular thoughts, not to be ruminating, not thinking in the past, but thinking about a topic, maybe even letting it go. That's the convergent thinking. Divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is letting go of an outcome in terms of thought and allowing thoughts to come to you as they wish. That's divergent thinking and creativity. And you sit there until the inspiration manifests a logical solution. That would be, in creative psychology, would be the aha moments, is letting go of a logical outcome, letting go of the fix, and waiting for the fix to come to you. And it should be a rational decision. It should be a very logical solution. That would be an aha moment. This is the opportunity afforded to us by this triangulation. And then think about which team that you're going to be on. Don't just go with whatever you have in the past or what you think you believe. Really sit in this logical Mercury irrational mindset, divergent thinking, and make sure that you're on the right team. All right, Venus in Leo, that influence, passionate team building, harmonizing, warmth in groups. That was from the I-Ching. And then Mars, the Mars release is the Aries solution. Bring out even more passion, transparency, intensity. It's a great combo for Venus and Leo. Watch out for the self. So this is the downside of Aries. So if you want to bring in more Aries, watch out for selfishness, hedonism, what's in it for me, impulsiveness, and the Aries anger. you're going to get yourself trapped in that remaining T-square. So don't do that. I know this was a lot. Even the solution is a lot more than what we normally have. So here's the bottom line is use your mind, all right, and get more evidence, listen to a lot more opinions, and then come together, find the right team, and then harmonize with that right team. Constantly on vigilance for their value sets to make sure that their values match yours. It's better, according to the I-Ching, to go out it alone if your team that you have picked changes its values or is not commensurate with your internal beacon. All right. Then the Mars release from the T-square and the Aries solution: be passionate, be transparent, be vigorous and ardent. All right, that's it. We're right at that 30 minutes again. So we'll see you guys next week. Comment below, share. I appreciate everybody, and hope that you can use this energy for your best benefit, especially as at the collective level. All right, see you guys.